Sexy girl. Been waiting to get with you.
Don't wanna sound full of myself or rude, but you ain't looking at no other dudes, cause you love me.
Alrighty, well, we're about to begin. Welcome to Fweshly Dipped in the Scoop, episode 7. Let's start off with an introduction. Why don't you tell us who you are?
Alright, my name is Eman G, head chef at Okie Pokey, downtown LA, and Atarashi and Barcada pop-ups. Alright, I'm from the Bay Area originally, South San Francisco. And man, it's weird saying I love to cook. I like to create things people have never seen and introduce people to new ideas. I think what I like the most about it is seeing people's reactions to it. I don't know what you would call it. I guess, yeah, that's what I enjoy. That's what I do. I actually took two classes in high school because I had nothing else to do. I did the minimum in high school, so I finished all my requirements and then I just did electives to get the easy grades. And it was cool. I didn't think I was gonna pursue it. And then I didn't do shit in college, and it was honestly kind of like a last ditch thing so my parents don't fucking cut me off. And yeah, I did culinary school, which was cool. I got a job at a restaurant as a busser. And then since I was in school, I was like, all right, I'll try working in the kitchen. I did it on my days off, and it kind of just escalated from there. I went from barely wanting to go to class to doing 80 to 100 hours in the kitchen a week. And yeah, it just kind of developed from there. So actually hasn't been that long considering everything that I've done. High school was junior, senior year, so like 10 years ago. And then I got my first job when I was 20. And I think I started culinary school right before then, so like 19, 20. It's like 6-7 years, really, straight.
How was culinary school? Like, how was it going through that whole experience? Like, when you first came in, was it just like, just kind of going through the motions and then it became it? Or like, just how was it?
Like I said, honestly, I went just like, it was like my last ditch resort to not get cut off by my parents. And it was cool at first, you know, it was like, I've never really worked in a kitchen and I got to see how things are done, like compared to watching shit on Food Network or how it was in my high school class, and worked with a bunch of different people. So that was cool, a bunch of different chefs. And then the glamour of it kind of wore off, and it felt more like they were just putting us through some program to push us out and get our money. And honestly, I kind of regret going. And when I meet new cooks, new chefs, and they ask me about it, I honestly don't recommend it. I ended up failing out 3 times, partially because I didn't go to class, because I didn't care, and because I wasn't learning anymore. And it just felt like it was holding me back more than it was pushing me forward. So it was cool for a little bit, but honestly what it really was working in the kitchen, working with chefs that, you know, I saw how good they became and the things that they're able to put out, and like literally watching them take, for example, at the sushi restaurant, whole fish and what they turned it into on a plate. And I'm like, holy shit, like I watched like the progression of that from literally from in the box with ice to on the plate on a customer's table. And that's kind of what like caught me and like drew me in.
So like, how would you say your progression from, you know, all right, so you wrapped up culinary school, you know, getting more hands-on in the kitchen. How's your like progression since then? Like,
oh man, the biggest lesson I learned, and it's funny because I was actually telling one of my new cooks this. When I was in culinary school, or when I was first starting cooking and I was learning all these new things, I thought it was hot shit. Like I was, oh man, I'm fucking dope. Like look what I could do, look what I could do. Like I could do it better than this guy, better than that guy. And then the biggest lesson I learned was that I'm really not shit. Like compared to somebody, there's always somebody better than me. And I'm never gonna be, it's probably impossible to pinpoint someone as the best chef in the world, and I'm never gonna be that. I'm probably never gonna be in like the top tier of it even. So I learned to just forget it and just focus on me and like what I used to do and how it could be better than the one before. And the progression it's been crazy. I was talking to a couple people about this, but after that last pop-up at Tarashi, I saw like when literally as I was plating here, when you guys were waiting for the food to come out, and I would look at the plates and I'd be like, holy shit. Like if I could flex for a little bit, I was like, holy shit, these are fucking beautiful. And I never thought that like I'd be able to do that, you know? And compared to what I used to be able to do and when I thought that was dope to what I'm seeing in front of me now, like I have this image in my head of what I want it to look like, and like I've seen what other chefs are capable of doing, but once I was able to do it like right in front of my own eyes and for all these people waiting for me to eat it, like it's not like I'm at home practicing, like this was the real thing, man, it felt fucking good. So the idea behind the pop-ups, the concept was that I was 23 when I first became a sous chef. So it was relatively young, and I mean, I had only been cooking for 3 or 4 years. So I'd been introduced into a lot of like different cooking techniques, different types of food, different ingredients. I was working for a traditional Japanese guy. Like he showed me all these things that are like comfort food for Japanese people, traditional Japanese items, and I've never fucking seen them before. I worked at Michael Mina's restaurant at Levi's Stadium. I was sous chef there, and that's like super high end. Like all our tickets were like $1,000. So I worked in all those places at such a young age, and I was seeing all these things that I've never seen before, and I was like, dude, these are fucking awesome. And I try them, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why do only the rich people? Like, why? I'm part of the 99% cooking for the 1%. I actually just read that in an interview recently from Eric Oberholtz. I ruined his name, but he's the dude at Tender Greens that I used to work for. And yeah, we're the 99% cooking for the 1%. And I was like, this isn't fair, you know? Like, this is fucked up. Like, if I like this, why wouldn't my friends like it, you know? So the concept behind the pop-up was to take all these ingredients, all these techniques that I've learned, and just kind of bring them down to a level that my friends can appreciate. Like my first pop-up, I don't think you guys made it to the first one. I think you were thinking about it. It was called Discomfort. And what it was I took comfort foods and I flipped them with different ingredients that people had never had before. Like that, for that one, it was, the first course I did was, you know, eggs in a window. It's like the toast, you cut it open, drop an egg in it. I did that with a quail egg and with uni butter. And for a lot of people, that was their first time having quail eggs, first time having uni. I can't remember all the other things I did at that pop-up. It was a while ago, but that was my concept, that I just wanted to bring people together to experience these things that I was fortunate enough to experience. My goal with these pop-ups isn't to make money, it's really to just bring people together and just introduce them to all these things that I've been exposed to and kind of change their way of thinking with food. So one of the first chefs I worked for at Bushido, Isamu Kanai, he kind of taught me most of what I know. I mean, I did go to culinary school, but like I said, I failed out. So I'm not really a traditionally trained chef. And the majority of the things I learned under him. And he taught me a lot, you know, it was really cool. There was a language barrier, which kind of sucked at first, but you know, I got through it. Other than that, actually, I've been lucky enough that I've been so passionate that I taught myself how to do a lot of things. So there's a lot of failure. There was a lot of things I did at pop-ups that honestly was the first time I've ever tried doing it, but it just worked. I've worked under a lot of different chefs. Some of them I hated, some of them I loved, and you know, I took what I could. The biggest motivation I get actually is people in my group of friends doing things that they love to do and seeing how far they're able to take it, or you know, what they're able to do with it, and that kind of pushes me to be like, you know, I could do that too. And just seeing people like my age, like kind of just go against what's the norm, you know, like, fuck that, I'm not gonna go to school, I'm not gonna graduate, work some dead end job or some office job that I don't wanna do. Like, I'm really gonna take a chance, like, and risk doing something I really love and see if I can make something out of it. And that pushes me to push my pop-ups and everything else that I do forward.
What kind of inspires you or motivates you to keep creating like your next best dish?
It's hard to say. I mean, I have, with all the different pop-ups I've had, they've all been a different theme, so that's kind of pushed me to be creative because I can't do something I've done before. With Atarashi, it was Japanese food, it's easy. A lot of the dishes, actually, to be honest, I've done before, but because I'm in LA and majority of the people had never been to a pop-up, of mine at least, I kind of had the freedom to take things I've done before and just kind of make them a little better. And like I said earlier, I mean, I see myself as my only competition. Like, I just want to do better than I did before. So that's what motivated me with this one. With the next one I'm doing, barcada, it's taking Filipino food, which I feel like hasn't really been treated with proper modernization or like taken anywhere else other than, you know, your mom made this, you know, like if you go to Filipino restaurants, you know what I'm talking about. You go to Filipino restaurants, it's like, it's good because it tastes like how, you know, your mom made it or how your grandparents made it, and it's cool. So I want to do something different with that. And I feel like I've gotten enough experience and I've worked in enough places and failed and succeeded at making different dishes that I can take the chance with it. So this is what's kind of pushing me now. But I'm gonna try, and this is something new to me, so it's exciting for me, and it's like doubly exciting because I still get to do the whole, you know, opening up people's minds to different things. And I'm really gonna like buckle down, and I feel like I need to solidify something as my style of cooking. So I'm gonna just throw myself into this and really focus on trying to turn something out of this. I don't know what I want, but it's gonna be what I'm focused on for now. I'm throwing myself in my pop-ups, like this is it. I have 3 in June for barcada. It's all actually gonna be the same pop-up in June, same menu and everything. It's just that, I mean, I'm still early on, so I'm doing it all on my own, but I wanna have as many people there as I can. So it'll be 36 people in June. In July, I'm actually planning to do at least one, and it'll be at the restaurant at Okie Pokie. You know, the owner is cool enough that we're closed on Sundays anyway. It was his idea, actually. He told me to do it there. So I'll have one there, and then I'm aiming August, September to do that big, to really ramp it up and do it at that place that Tim has in mind for me. And you know, that'll be cool.
It's like, as an artist and as a person, like, what would you say you represent? Like,
What I represent.
What do you hope that, like, when people interact with you and your works of art, or they come to your pop-up, like, what do you hope that people kind of take away from it?
Look again, so I had this goal for myself that I didn't really tell anybody, but it was to be a head chef of a restaurant by 30. Just be running a restaurant. I didn't know where I'd be or what kind of restaurant, if it'd be my own or not. And I fucking did that a month after turning 26. So I'm pretty fucking early on my goals, and that feels pretty good. And if I could say I represent anything, I guess it'd be that if you really work hard on your passion, that you can really get it done. Like, I want to say I represent the youth that's like changing the norm where we follow what our parents say. We go to school because we're told to go to school, and rather we do what we love to do and we get appreciated for it.
So Fweshly Dipped, our brand, is about putting yourself out there in your environment in like a positive and creative way. With that being said, what advice would you say to the next person who's trying to like accomplish their dreams?
Don't be scared. I don't know. It's gonna suck. You're gonna fail. There's gonna be times where you feel like quitting. If I could tell one more story, actually, after that job, when all that happened, I was actually at a point where I was kind of burnt out. And I quit that job, and for a while I actually considered quitting cooking. I just didn't have the passion anymore. It was more stress than it was kind of rewarding. And this was all right before I came to LA. And I was thinking of doing just a bunch of other shit. I wasn't even gonna go back to school. I fucking hate school, and I was gonna go back to school. I don't know what the fuck I was gonna do, but it was gonna take up my time. And I don't know when it came back. I moved to LA and I got a restaurant job because it's what I knew I'd be able to get. And then I actually hated that job, but somehow my passion came back. And yeah, now I'm fucking gonna do more pop-ups in the next 3 months than I've done in the last year. So, yeah, the advice I could give is just to not fucking let it go, you know? You could take a break. It's not always gonna come to you. It's not always gonna be success after success. Sometimes it's failure after failure. And sometimes it's gonna fucking just feel like it's not worth it anymore. Either because you're not making money, you're not seeing the results, or it's just not as fun. But if you really, really care about it and you really know that it's something that you want to do, it'll find a way. I'm Eman G, and I'm Fweshly Dipped.
Yeah!